Dear brothers and sisters, queridísimos hermanos y hermanas, bien chers frères et sœurs, liebe Brüder und Schwestern,
Дорогие братья и сестры, 亲爱的兄弟姊妹们
fratelli e sorelle carissimi, habemus
Dixo proudly presents the ApeCoin DAO Special Council Election 07-2024 with candidate
Frontin. Well, I guess I'll start off with, I think, just who I am in general. So, father of three, husband, been for the past 20 years in my IRL life, have been primarily working, leading teams in marketing and business development for a pretty large Fortune 10 company. Had the privilege of launching several brands during that time and representing our company and through several pretty large negotiations as well. In my Web3 world, which started 3.5 years ago, it started off as a collector. At that time, NBA Top Shot, things like that were pretty popular, and that's kind of how I got my start. The same friend who got me into crypto years and years ago started talking to me about these NFT things and fell in love with it. Been involved in the space, have started a company during that time, closed that one down, started another one. But no, really excited. NFTs and Web3 for me have been something that kind of have started as a little hobby and have grown into a true passion for me.
And you're a lawyer, is that correct?
Yes, so lawyer. I call myself lawyer by training. So been graduated law school, passed the bar, practiced some a while ago, working with mainly small companies, helping them get started. Everything from incorporation. I think there's early general counsel, some light IP work, things like that. But I'll say not a practicing lawyer day to day in the traditional sense. So don't come to me for legal advice. That's for sure.
So now the question is, why are you running for the special counsel?
Sure. Great question. So this goes back to probably early in my NFT or also my Web3 journey. So like I said, I've been in the Web3 community for about 3.5 years. About 6 to 7 months in, actually, I remember it was July 4th, 2021. I was, we were off work here in the US. I was, not feeling really great about my job at the time. I was kind of burnt out. And I was just started thinking of like, there's got to be other people out there that are like me, right? Who are looking for, a different path. And I started thinking about, Web3 as like, it's really like the great equalizer, right? The same way that I kind of view the internet was back in the 1990s, where you could go from like all you needed to start a company was like a PC, an internet connection, and a garage, and you could start Amazon. But Web3 kind of had that same feeling to me again, where you really like, if you were an artist or knew an artist, I'm not an artist. If you were a developer or knew one, I'm also not a developer, so I had to find people to help me. You could go and start a company, and it didn't require a lot of capital. It didn't require, as much of the upfront work as some things in the past. And so it actually got me thinking, well, if the bar is really that low, how do we help people get over that bar? And so it was at that time that I texted a friend this idea. He called me back and said, like, when do we start? And so we founded a community-driven incubator called the Atlas Lions Club. We raised funds through an NFT collection, funded some companies coming out of that. And unfortunately, the bear market did what bear markets do, I guess, both to us and some of the companies that we help. But I found my passion for helping other people succeed. It gave me such a feeling of like fulfillment. I can't explain why. I wish I had some really great story of why I like seeing other people succeed, but it is just what gets me going. And so when that started to wrap up, I felt still a need to do that. I didn't really know where to go. And it was that point in time, a little less than a year ago now, that I found the DAO. I knew about the DAO. I knew about ApeCoin, obviously. Had not been as active as a participant until a year or so ago. And then I started coming in, and then I started learning, and I started getting involved in AIPs. And I was like, oh, wow, this is exactly what I've been wanting to do, and on a scale that you can make some serious impact and help a lot more people. So been involved in that for a while. And then when the announcement for elections came up, it was really kind of like a no-brainer. It's like, okay, this is where I want to be. I looked at all the roles. I looked at special counsel. I looked at working group. And I thought, given my experience and my skill set and where I think I can best kind of use my talents to help with the DAO, special counsel was the right fit. And so I wrote up my application and hit apply.
What's the purpose at the end of you running for the special counsel?
Yeah, for me, I mean, I think the main thing that I want to do, I want to find a way to, I think, continue and expand how we can get, I'll say, funding to builders. I do want to, I think, both expedite the process. How do we make sure that, I refer to it as shots on goal, shots in goal. How do we make sure that there's, the understanding to everybody of how to get something in and through and past? What do good AIPs look like? I want that to be common knowledge, and I want that to be at scale. And so I think in my role as special counsel, if elected, I want to be able to continue to find more ways to help people through that process so that we start seeing a lot more of these good ideas come through. But I also want more people to come in. I think, right now we are looking at anywhere from 4 to 8 AIPs up for a vote on any given week. God, I want that to be 10, 20, 30, 40. I want people to be flooding the DAO with ideas and funding and innovation. And yeah, will all of them pass? Probably not. Will I have any say on which ones pass? Absolutely not. In my role, right? My job is to facilitate it. But if I can advocate it and help spread the brand and the awareness of the ApeCoin DAO, it allows more people to come in for funding. And if we have processes in place and, education in place that helps people get through, that funding actually can happen. So that's if nothing else happens in the next 12 months, but that, I would consider it a huge success. The other thing that, to be honest, just gets me really excited about is ApeChain. And I have zero financial interest or incentive to promote ApeChain outside of just owning ApeCoin. And I do believe ApeChain will be good for ApeCoin as you increase use cases and demand for it. But I look at it as something that I think is just so important to the DAO, and you only really get you only get your first launch once. And so I really want the launch of ApeChain to be something that is absolutely successful. Like I said, I've launched a lot of brands in my time outside of Web3. Successful launches don't just happen. Some do. Some unicorns do exist out there. But usually it takes a lot of work, concerted effort, resources, communication. You need everything to line up. And so coming in at this time and being on special counsel during the year that ApeChain is launching and being an advocate for it and helping people find ApeChain and helping people connect people with the resources to build on ApeChain, I think is something that is, just going to be really beneficial to anyone who's holding ApeCoin, because I do think it should, increase demand for it and increase use cases for it. And hopefully that means good things from a market standpoint. But more than that, I think it's just going to be something that's really fun for us to work on. We don't have in the ApeCoin DAO a lot of singular cohesive things to work on. Everyone is working on their own projects, and we'll come together and talk about them, and we'll have votes every now and then. But we don't have that one central theme for all of us to get excited about. I think ApeChain can be it. If we let it be, if we want it to be, I think ApeChain could be one of those things that we can all really rally around and have a lot of fun with and provide a lot of value to the ecosystem.
And if you're elected, will you be working full-time?
Yeah, it'll be divided time. I mean, I think the roll calls for full time as needed. I will be providing as much time as the DAO needs me to, and probably a little more, to be honest with you. I am when I see something exciting, I see something I want to work on. It is I generally roll up my sleeves and like to jump in. But I do have a brand that I run on the side as well, and so that will take some time. But the DAO is going to get a lot from me. In terms of how much time I'm going to be putting into it. But I'd be lying if I'm saying it's the only thing that I'll be working on.
The big elephant in the room is, as I've seen in the past 3-4 months, is the transparency and accountability of the AIPs that are getting voted on, and whether for or against, we don't see much of what happens after that. So what would you do? Like increasing more transparency and accountability for all AIPs?
I think you're right. I think and that's part of what I think is hurting the brand of the DAO right now, unfortunately. I look at it, and this may be an overly simplified view of the world, but I look at it as like the data's there where we can track AIPs that are in the idea phase, that are in the voting phase, that are in the past phase. And the working groups do a really good job kind of helping us think through that. I think we can surface that data a little better. And so would love to work with the governance working group and Marcoms in order to help that, I think, be just very intuitive for people to be able to find and understand. I'd love to add a funded column to that report and know that, hey, these ones are approved and the funds haven't been released, and these ones are approved and the funds have been released. They are off and running. I do think, and we've talked in individual AIP conversations, we've talked some about it, but I'd also like to understand, like, great, what do they do with those funds? A lot of them, especially in their AIPs, they put milestones. They tell you exactly what they're going to do. I would love, and a little bit for I'll say partly for accountability, understand how they're using the funds. So, if they want to come back and ask for some more down the road, there's a track record of, if they're using them responsibly or not. But to be honest, I think there are some really great things going on that we don't get to hear about, because after we give them the funds, we say good luck and God bless and lead them on their way. And we don't, give them the opportunity to come back and show us what they built. I think an exception to that rule, case in point, is, what Peter has been building with Board Brewing. I think he's been able to come back, and I don't know if this was the DAO leading it or him just being a really, savvy promoter of his business, but we're hearing about it a lot. ApeCoin DAO is involved. ApeCoin is sponsoring his opening here in Calgary. And, that's something that we can see, wow, hey, ApeCoin DAO did this. Here's the results of what we were able to do. I want to be able to celebrate those builders, and selfishly, for the benefit of the DAO, I want to be able to promote that everywhere so other people who have ideas and are looking for funding can see what we're doing, and maybe that makes them want to come to the ApeCoin DAO for funding instead of going elsewhere.
That happens also with the Formula One. There was this big launch in Miami, and it's a big deal to be, in front of 1.3 billion people during the whole thing. And we don't make enough noise around that. And they should have special teams go and cover, Alpine and everything that they can, that allows them to do, but they should make a little more noise for those success stories.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, we're doing some really amazing stuff, and I know and Marcoms just got funded, so I'm hoping with their funding they're able to do a lot more than they have been. But no, I think there's so much for those of us who are in the know and who get excited and who show up every day. We show up every day because we know about all this amazing stuff happening. Like, I want the world to know it.
Next question: if you're elected, who would you like to be the other one elected?
I may weasel out and give you two, but I'll give you my first one. My first answer would probably be Wabam. I've had the opportunity to speak with him on a number of occasions. I think two things, that it's not just because we're both lawyers. It's, I think he and I share a similar philosophy on, I think, trying to kind of roll up our sleeves and build the DAO. And what, he has definitely gone above and beyond in his role as special counsel. And I think I would love to work alongside with somebody that has that vision and that work ethic as well. I think we would share a lot of that along with some of the other special counsel members. If it couldn't be Wabam, I think out of absolute pure curiosity and wanting to be paired with somebody who is strong in so many areas that I am not. Mo from Animoca, absolute genius on tokenomics and mathematics and like a lot of the real technical side, which is not an area that I am, knowledgeable of. So to have that, to learn from him, to work alongside him, and he just sounds so smooth on the mic. So I would just personally enjoy probably talking to him a lot.
How much do you think that ApeCoin will be valued in June 2025?
Oh God, I hope more than it is today. I do believe it. I do believe. I couldn't tell you what the number is going to be. I couldn't tell you when it's going to go up or how many times it'll go down, and as well as going up. But again, I do think I'm hopefully not drinking the Kool-Aid on this one, but I do believe that ApeChain is going to multiply the use cases and use of ApeCoin, right? From ApeCoin being just the gas token on the chain to dApps building and transacting in ApeCoin in there. And I got to believe that, it will be a good launch without any help. I think it has the potential to be an absolutely fantastic launch with all of us working towards it. And gosh, if all of that doesn't do something positive for ApeCoin, then I apparently don't understand how supply and demand work anymore.
If you're not elected, will you still be very active in the forum and the Discord and the discourse?
Oh, you're not getting rid of me that easy. Absolutely. So I think my passion doesn't change regardless, of the outcome of the election. So I will still be passionate about helping people get connected to funding, and right. And so how, if I can help them, through commentary and challenging and helping make their AIPs better, if it's through one-on-one conversations, if it's through helping connect them to the right people that can, ultimately get them there, that work as an individual, I will absolutely continue to do. It has no bearing on election results. It's where my MO within Web3 has been. And I'll probably start, writing some AIPs. The ideas that I have for the DAO don't go away after an election, whether it's, positive or negative for me. And so if I don't get to, bring those to fruition as member of the special council, then I'll seek to bring them to fruition through as a community member and through AIPs and, things like that.
Last question. If you could get rid of any book or any movie or any TV series in the world, what would that be?
There is some children's television show that I'm sure my kids watched endlessly when they were younger that we're getting rid of Baby Shark. That was a burden on my family for far too long. And while we're past the age that it's, in the time where it's really that dominant in my life anymore, I really could have had, those 6 to 9 months back in my life. I think I would have been a lot happier. So Baby Shark, final answer.
So to end, every time I interview a guest, I invite them to send a final message.
No, thanks so much for having me. Like I said before, my goal for ApeCoin, for the ApeCoin DAO, and specifically my role in special counsel, should I be elected, is really twofold. One, I want to help get more people funded, and that is bringing more people into the DAO. So how do we make sure that we are the primary place of funding that people in Web3 and beyond look to? And as those people are coming in, how do we make sure that they have the tools and the guidance and the understanding to be successful in receiving that funding and getting their AIPs passed? I think secondarily, I do view ApeChain as a product of the DAO. It was funded and voted on by the DAO. And so I do feel that we have some responsibility and opportunity to make it a really successful launch if we want to. And, as a member of special counsel, being an advocate for that and helping facilitate and grow that launch is something that's going to be very, very important where I'll spend my time. I believe I'm the right person for the job. I believe my experience leading teams in marketing and business development and my time in Web3, my passion all lines up to what the DAO is looking to do, at least in the next 12 months, if not longer. And humbly ask for any ApeCoin owners out there listening for their vote.
Powered by Dixo and ApeCoin.